Hi, everybody. My name is Ina Elkin. I'm the Events and Marketing Coordinator for SolarOne. SolarOne is actually, unlike Frac Action and We Act, which are sort of community organizing, direct advocacy organizations, what SolarOne does is a little bit different. We are a green energy, arts, and education center, and we have a solar power building. It's actually New York City's only standalone solar power building. It's located just south of 23rd Street on East River. And it is sort of the first stop along our space, which actually also includes a 2-acre all-native plant sustainably managed park. It's the first native plant park in New York City, and it actually mimics what a waterfront meadow would have looked like 400 or 500 years ago. All of the plants there are the same kinds of plants that were here when the Native Americans were living here. And from our little education center in the park, we do education classes for kindergarten through 12th grade. We do internships and have volunteers who work in the park working on the plants. We present solar-powered arts and events for not only internally, but also for outside groups, including films, dance performances, live music, and now we're working on our first theater production. Diallo is the development director of our amazing Green Jobs program, which is figuring out how to train and prepare people and discover where the newest opportunities are coming in the green economy. And we also do a number of outreach programs that help connect communities and citizens, businesses, building owners, condo owners with energy efficiency and renewable energy incentives that are available through the state, the city, and the federal governments to help people sort of jumpstart a new clean energy future. So, actually, you want to talk a little bit about Green Jobs?
Definitely. So, SolarOne, I'm sorry, my name is Diallo Shabazz. As Nina said, I'm the Director of Green Career Development for SolarOne. And everybody here, my primary responsibility is to work with our program in figuring out how do we train New Yorkers to work in green jobs. So SolarOne approaches the green sector, green advocacy from an education standpoint. Of course, education is the most important part of advocacy because if you don't know about the issues, and how can you advocate for it? SolarOne has a few different education programs. We go into elementary, middle, and high schools to talk to them about the environment. We also have an innovative green jobs program. How many people in here know what a green job is? Or you think you know what a green job is? How many people here plan on working in green jobs? That's really great. One of the interesting things is that since green jobs really kind of impact every single industry and every single sector, many of you may end up working in green jobs whether you want it to or not. And it's really because our world is shifting its focus from a fossil fuel, unsustainable model where it's kind of like you're taking, and not replenishing anything, to moving towards a sustainable model. Where we're taking into mind like the triple bottom line. Where it's no longer just about the financial impact that we have on our economy. Now it's about the financial, the social, and the environmental impact. So there's a triple bottom line that we're looking at right now. SolarOne's Green Jobs program really tries to empower New Yorkers to work on green jobs in their own communities. So for example, brownfield remediation. In many different communities throughout New York City, people have brownfields. You would never see brownfields on the Upper East Side or the Upper West Side. I mean, anytime you see a plot of land, some developer wants to build a building there. But in many parts of New York, there are brownfields. There are just these polluted areas, and no one's doing anything about it. So people who are empowered to work in brownfield remediation can go in, they can take the pollutants out of the community and allow it to be a green space. They can allow it to be affordable housing, a number of different things. SolarOne's Green Job Training Program also trains people in renewable energy and energy efficiency. What I mean by renewable energy is solar, wind, biodiesel, etc. We specifically train people in solar. Solar PV, which is solar electric, and solar thermal, which is using the sun, the power of the sun to heat hot water. And the reason we've done that specifically is because if you look at the markets, the way things are going, if you're training people in green jobs, it's important because, of course, you want them to have transferable skills, you want them to know about the environment, but you also want them to be employed. So there are certain jobs you can train people for in New York City that wouldn't lead to employment. For example, if you train people in biodiesel in New York City, there aren't really a lot of biodiesel processing plants. If you train people in wind power in New York City, nobody's building like wind towers in Times Square or Brooklyn Bridge. so that you wouldn't get a job there. But solar PV is growing in New York City, so we train people in solar PV and solar thermal. We train people in energy auditing and the weatherization. Energy auditing is going into a building like this, looking around, seeing how can we make this building more energy efficient. How can we swap out the light bulbs? How can we measure the plug loads in the walls? How can we create a building that's much more sustainable so we lower our electric bills? Weatherization is making sure that we have a building that has a certain kind of balance in insulation. So what Solar One does is, in addition to doing like a little bit of advocacy and trying to push policies, we really try to empower the individual to create a life for themselves in the green sector and also be able to create change where they are. Solar One has a very interesting perspective on the green, like this growing green economy, because many times you have people who work in the kind of like green sector that are kind of isolated. You have like the policy people who are developing the policies and the legislation about how this stuff is going to be rolled out. So, for example, in New Jersey, let's say this individual right here in the front owned a house in New Jersey. And let's say this young lady over here owned a house in New York. Let's say it's the exact same kind of house, and they both wanted to reduce their electric bills. So they both decide they want solar panels. So this person over here, this young man, is going to pay a lot less over time than this young lady, not because there's more sun in New Jersey, and not even because they can get the solar panels for a cheaper rate. For the most part, they'll probably pay similar rates because there are federal, state, and local rebates they can both be a part of. But New Jersey has a policy, has a system called SREC, it's like the solar renewable energy credits. So when he's here right now, sitting here taking notes, if he has solar panels on his house, the solar panels are producing energy. The power is going back onto the grid, and after producing a certain amount of power, they're sending him a check in the mail. But in New York, you don't get that. So the question is why? So one of the things we want to do around policy is create a market that drives solar integration, which is why New Jersey is probably about third or fourth in the nation as it relates to solar power, and New York is nowhere on the map. So policy is important as well. We work with contractors because the contractors are the people out there actually doing the work. They don't really care about the policy, they just want to get paid. They say, send me people who can work, who are qualified, and give me some incentive programs so that customers can afford this work. So we work with the contractors as well, so we know what kind of people they need to get employed. We work with outreach folks. We have a partnership with NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. We're going out to co-ops and condos and businesses and talking to them about how you make your building more energy efficient. And we also, of course, work with the workforce population, with the people who are actually trained to be doing the work. So Solar One kind of has a bird's eye view of this developing green sector. And as it relates to you as advocates, it's going to be important that not only are you passionate and eager to go out and make change, but that you're educated about it, and also that you understand all the different sectors that kind of go into making decisions. So on your campuses, the question you want to ask yourselves are, who are the policy people who are making the decisions? Who are the people going to be actually doing the work? Who are the people going to be doing the outreach? So if you have like a campaign that targets all these areas, it's going to make you much more effective as activists as you go out and try to make change. But as leaders in our community, one of the things we need to keep in mind is that if we're working on a campaign, who's going to take over the campaign once we leave? So leadership development becomes an important part of what we do at every single level as well. So that's kind of like in a nutshell a little bit of what Solar One does and how we do it. And we're looking forward to working with you later on and taking any questions that you have.
Yeah, I think what we'll be focusing on mostly in the workshop, since it's a little bit difficult to start your own green energy project, is taking a look maybe at some of the things about the school itself. One of our education programs is called the Green Design Lab, where we actually go into city schools that have already started doing weatherization and energy retrofitting to lower the energy costs in the schools. And what we do is, in conjunction with those facilities changes, we have the students actually go around the school, analyze where further changes can be made, and make recommendations to the principal for how they want to continue to make the school more sustainable. So that means looking at, the food in the cafeteria, looking at how waste is handled, what is the recycling program all about, and how can that be made better? Can we do rooftop gardening? Can we do composting? Can we do the whole litany of things? We're going to talk about things that you can possibly implement in the school. And then the other thing that we can talk about in the workshops is how you make an event sustainable. If you're planning an event for your school, whether it's a dance, a bake sale, I don't know what kind of stuff you guys do around here, but we can talk about it in the workshop. And then setting out a set of guidelines for how to make an event. And parties too can be more sustainable.